Welcome to Make It Take It. I'm DC. I had the over yesterday in that Utah State game, which they didn't quite score enough to get there. That brings me to 2-1 in tournament time so far this year. But you can watch that video if you want. I'll link it in the description below if you wanted to see those calls. And also my tournament tips video in the description below. The first round of the NCAA tournament to me is teams that really have something to prove. Teams that were from lower conferences or teams that had really good records that get seeded way high, like Florida Atlantic, who got a 9 seed as a 31-win team. And you know they've been one of my favorite teams all year. More about that in a minute. But one of my top NCAA tournament first round tips is teams who get upset as a high seed the previous year usually come back and make a good showing the next year. And there's 2 teams playing today that fit into that, which are Kentucky. They got upset as a number 2 last year by St. Peter's. Now today, we have a Kentucky team that plays Providence, a 4.5-point line. And I really like Providence. Providence is a team that I went and saw live against Villanova this year, and they were really good. I've got to see them and track them, but they faltered a lot down the stretch. It's not to say that they shouldn't play Kentucky tough, but I'm taking Kentucky on the money line. The second team is Connecticut. Now, this Connecticut team plays an Iona team who I've also seen a few times just last week, and I said could be trouble for somebody in the tournament this year. So I'm going to stay away from that one. That 9.5-point line is questionable to me. I'd lean towards Connecticut on that line because it's so many points. But again, Iona could pull off the upset, I think. So I'm just sticking with a Kentucky money line. And I'm also going to the team that I said got ranked, seeded way too low, which is Florida Atlantic. They were my second favorite team all year, second to Queens. I've talked about them all year. And they play a Memphis team today, who Memphis isn't from one of the power conferences. Memphis is from a middle-of-the-line conference, and they were a very good team this year. But Florida Atlantic is going to have a lot to prove as a 31-win team. They're going to want to take out Memphis and show that. So I'm taking Florida Atlantic. I'm buying the 0.5 point up to 2. And I'm also going to tease Florida Atlantic with Kansas State. Kansas State is one of the teams that I've watched a few times this year that looked really good in the middle of the season. They had a few losses down the stretch and were dogs leading up to the tournament a couple times. But they got those done. And they're way class above Montana State. Montana State isn't a slouch. But I think Kansas State at 2.5 with the tees gets it done. So I'm taking Kentucky on the money line, Florida Atlantic +2, and a Florida Atlantic Kansas State teaser. Those are my plays for today. Thank you for watching, and good luck.